to see someone who looked like me and was a representation of me on the stage, singing and dancing to these amazing songs. And so it just lit a spark in me.
I signed up for drama as my electives and started taking theater classes, and literally it became my life.
We have two guests on today's podcast. Actor Brandon James Butorovich and Savannah Fisher star in TheatreWorks' production of Dogman the Musical, which will be performed at the Temple Theater on March 13th. Butorovich has played roles off Broadway in A Christmas Carol and Alice in Wonderland. He has also toured with Missoula Children's Theater and the National Theater for Children. Fisher, who will be playing the role of Flippy in the upcoming performance, is from Detroit, Michigan. She graduated with a musical theater performance degree from Western Michigan University and entertained audience as Deloris in Sister Act, Glinda in The Wiz, and Gilmer in Godspell. She is a classically trained jazz singer and soloed at the International Jazz Festival. Listen in to learn more about the theater journeys of our guests and plan to join us on March 13th for Dogman the Musical. Brandon and Savannah, thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast. I understand that you have quite a busy schedule. Appreciate you taking some time out to chat a little bit more about what it's like to be in musical theater. Brandon and Savannah, maybe each of you could just give sort of a brief history of what first engaged you with theater broadly and perhaps musical theater more specifically.
Okay. Hi, thanks for having us, first of all. But yeah, my first experience with musical theater was back in 5th grade. I was in our music class, and our music teacher had shown a production of Suzuko the Musical on the square box television. And it was so amazing to see someone who looked like me and was a representation of me on the stage, singing and dancing to these amazing songs. And so it just lit a spark in me where I was like, oh, wow, this is something I can do. Oh, great. I think I want to do this. And we ended up doing the same musical that year. So I auditioned for the musical and I ended up getting that part. It was the Sour Kangaroo. So that was my first experience with theater.
Yeah, and mine, I discovered theater much later than when Savannah did. I was a sophomore in high school, and I was very much involved in band in school. So our band did a trip to New York City. We performed in some sort of festival, and with that, we saw 2 Broadway shows. We saw the matinee of The Producers and an evening performance of Beauty and the Beast. And I was just so mesmerized by what I was seeing happening like live on stage. I've never seen something like it. I never knew that like this was really a thing, and completely just became obsessed, honestly, with the idea of theater. So when it came around to put our schedule together for school, I signed up for drama as my electives and started taking theater classes, and literally it became my life. And then, went to college for it, and then now I've been working in theater, and I honestly can't imagine myself doing anything else. So, yeah.
It's really fantastic to sort of hear how both of you had, I mean, Brandon, you were a little bit further along, but still fairly young when you discovered this passion. Hearing how you've cultivated that and let it grow and into what it is now. Sort of along those lines, you both are now in a touring production. Savannah, I understand this is your first tour, and Brandon, you've toured before. Maybe you both could comment on the difference between being a little more stationary with your theater and what it's like to be in a production.
What's the difference between touring and not touring in a theater production?
Right. Yeah. So when you're moving place to place and doing the production from place to place versus staying in one place and having that predictable stage environment and audience environment, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. It's the two are completely different, just completely different, because when you're touring, it really is a 24/7 job, what I say, because it's not like we're not just doing the show and then leaving and going home for the rest of the day. We ride to the venue, we get all situated with everything, we do the show, and then we leave the venue, and then we travel. And it's fun, but it's a lot. It's a lot of hard work, and you really have to take care of yourself mentally and physically to be able to just handle the demand of it. I mean, we traveled 2.5, almost 3 hours today, and that was a very short travel day we had. And so some days are much longer. So you really have to just listen to your body and find times for yourself, because this company, the current Dogman company, we all adore each other and we all get along so well, but we have no escape from each other. So finding that time every once in a while to have your alone time so you can rest and all that. And whereas when you're doing a show and you're in one venue for a month or however much, you come, you do the show, you leave, and then the rest of the day is your day. And it's not like that when you're on the road.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And for our particular contract that we have, it's even more taxing because we also act as stage managers. And so we're required to put the setup every time we do the production and also take it down, like these huge walls, put all the props together and take those down and pack up our cargo truck and move to the next place, go to our next hotel, check it. Like it's a full day's event, and the show ends up being such a small part of it. Whereas where you're in a stationary environment, you can just show up to the theater an hour and a half before, get ready, do the show, put on your clothes and go home and like go to a restaurant with the cast, like, hey, what's up for dinner and stuff like that. Whereas, it's completely different because we're always preparing for the next place that we have to be at.
Yeah, I imagine that closeness that you have as a theater group is very interesting too, because you are with each other sort of all the time. And does that impact how you're performing in terms of like knowing each other sort of on a personal level as much as knowing each other's nuances as actors or actresses?
Yeah, it totally does. And the funny thing is, like, we all met each other for the first time at the end of December of 2021. So like we all just met each other. But because of the nature of a touring contract and being around everyone all the time, it's like I feel like I've known these people my entire life. And with that, you very much quickly learn their habits and their little traits and stuff that they have. And that like when we're doing shows, we kind of we stay professional, definitely, but like backstage, it's like what would get someone to laugh, and you see someone do something and you're like, oh, I know exactly why they're doing that, because they're like this. I don't know, it's things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Little traits.
And we have moments on stage where we are able to improv and things like that. So those moments can be particularly hilarious because we all just know each other so well and we get along so well that those moments we can really like genuinely interact with each other as these characters.
Yeah, a lot of little inside jokes we slide in for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine that's as you're getting to know one another, that becomes more of a rhythm as well.
Yeah.
Along with sort of this ability to live out the passion that you have through the art of theater, I imagine that it still comes with some challenges, and you described some of those challenges in the touring environment. I'd love to hear how you've overcome some other challenges that maybe you've run into in your journey to get into theater or stay in theater. Could you describe sort of maybe what those challenges might have been and the way that you've overcome them?
Do we have enough time to talk about
all of the challenges of live theater?
Maybe one.
There's been a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing that popped into my head was actually getting to New York to start to do that work in the arts and to try to be on Broadway and get into those auditions. It was a lot, even just getting to the area that I needed to be in, because New York is so expensive and everyone's trying to move there. It was difficult to find a place to live. So that was the first thing that just came to my mind. That was definitely one of the biggest challenges that I've had to overcome recently, was even seeing myself getting to New York. It felt so far away when I was in Michigan, because I'm from Michigan. I went to school in Detroit, and it just seemed like such a ways away of a dream. But yeah, we made it happen. I worked really hard. I worked multiple jobs at the same time, saved up a lot of money, and was able to thankfully afford to even be in the environment that I needed to be in to make this into the career that I've gotten to do so far.
Yeah, and I've definitely had my fair share of challenges. One of them was just finding a school to study for college was a challenge. Finding a school that believed in me as an actor, and then another challenge, and I think any theater professional would say, is just overcoming the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just hard. And I'm just so happy, just speaking for myself, I'm so happy to be back working in live theater again.
Yeah. Turning a little bit toward Dogman specifically, this beloved Dogman, what has that been like to be part of this production specifically, and play the roles that you do for all these kids that just have embraced the character, and you're responsible for interpreting this character that's familiar to them, but also doing it in a way that makes it come to life off the page.
Yeah, I take a lot of responsibility to being in the show and portraying Dogman himself. As when I first got called in to come in for an audition for this role, I knew nothing about Dogman. I knew Dave Pilkey and I knew Captain Underpants, but I knew nothing about Dogman. Didn't know it existed, didn't know it was a book, nothing. So when I came in and auditioned and eventually got the part, I was blown away to learn how popular this book series is. And I mean, it just shows like our performances are pretty much sold out every show, and these kids come dressed as these characters. Mm-hmm. Like these characters are these kids everything, it seems. So I take a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of fun. And this show is fun. This show is just nonstop mm-hmm. energy. The music is so good. The script mm-hmm. is so good. It's not a kid's show. It's a family show. And our director, Jen Wyman, is very particular about that. This is not children's theater. This is theater for young audiences, and it is a family show, because the kids that come see the show nonstop laugh throughout it, and the grown-ups that come to see the show nonstop laugh as well. Mm-hmm. So it's really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it's super fun, and it's almost like, I don't know, it's not crazy difficult to bring it off the page because it's so well written.
Yeah.
It's just so well written. It's such a great story. And so they did half the work for us. We at this point just had to like have fun and deliver the jokes the way that they're intended. But yeah, it's been super fun to be able to play a villain and do something different than I normally do. This is like maybe the second villain I've played now, and it's definitely an extremely fun journey. And I'm surprised that some of the kids are saying that like I'm their favorite character, and it just warms my heart the way that these kids love and appreciate Dogman. So it's been it's been really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting. Brandon, that comment about the connection that this show brings to families, and as a theater, that's part of who we are, and what broke our hearts so badly when COVID came along was we're about bringing people together sort of on a large scale in terms of bringing people from our city and region, strangers together, but also that family union of, brothers and sisters and moms and dads, aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas and friends, like to create that experience. And so we are all looking forward to hosting Dogman here at the Temple Theater, and really, really are looking forward to seeing the way that this all comes to life.
Yeah.
If there's anything, any encouragement that you would give to aspiring actors or actresses, or people that may be in a slump in terms of thinking, I'm not sure if this is what I want to do. What kind of encouragement might you give them?
I don't, just do it. I would say just go for it. Don't let anyone tell you no. Don't let anyone say like, oh, you should find something else to do because this is such a hard industry. It's like, yeah, it is hard, but you'll find a way. You'll always find a way. And if I ever listen to the no's that I've been told so many times throughout my life, I wouldn't be doing Dogman, and I'm very happy doing Dogman right now. Yeah. So just follow what you want to do. No one knows yourself more than you. So just do what you want. That's what I'd say.
I agree. I would also say just go for it. Like, just don't give up. There have been so many times where I've wanted to just throw it away, give up, find a different career path. But I always keep getting drawn back to theater because it's my destiny. It's what I'm made to do, I guess. And so I would convince others to just follow their heart as well. Just listen to what your heart's telling you to do, not what anyone else is correcting you to do or telling you that you would never be able to play or that you shouldn't do. Just do what's in your heart, because that's what'll come across the most anyway, and to the people that it needs to come across to. You just being yourself and sharing your gift is enough.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, Savannah, thank you again. It's going to be great to have you here at the Temple Theater. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule and fitting this into all the other responsibilities that you have to bring Dogman to the stage. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to do this, and we can't wait to bring this
back in my home state.
Yeah. I can't wait to bring this show there.
Thank you for listening to the Temple Arts Podcast. Please consider subscribing to the podcast and making a donation to the arts through SaginawArtMuseum.org or TempleTheater.com. This will allow us to continue to bring enriching programming to Saginaw and beyond.